There are countless questions this morning about the NSA surveillance program. Is this what the Patriot Act intended? The man who wrote that law says this is overboard. Wisconsin Congressman James Sensenbrenner back with us this morning. Sir, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, I'm hearing from Republicans, your colleagues. I'm hearing from Democrats saying, hey, we got to do this. I mean, this is the world we live in. You got a big problem with this. Tell us why.
Well, I got a big problem because the business records part of the Patriot Act, which was what was used to justify this, was designed for specific investigations. I don't know why every phone call that was sent or received by a U.S. cell phone company, as well as emails and Facebook posts and stuff like that, are relating to a specific investigation. This is a dragnet. It's an overreach, and we've got to find out why this is justified, simply because the NSA wants to do some data mining.
But so you wrote the law, but the specific part of the law says that it has to be relevant to the investigation, right? Relevant to the investigation, and that investigation would then be authorized. But this appears to throw suspicion on everyone. Does it not, when you throw a net this wide?
Sure it is, and it's definitely a government overreach, and what's happened when people seem to think that big government is good. We're seeing big government in action, just like George Orwell predicted, but maybe a few years later.
All right, they might be watching terrorists in 2013, right? But you know what they're building in the state of Utah? I mean, what are they going to do with this information in 2023? I mean, if you thought Google was good, knowing your every step every day, what's the government capable of?
Well, the government is capable of going to a secret court where there are no adversarial proceedings and getting an overbroad order. And that's why both Judiciary Chairman Bob Goodlatte and I are insistent that if we have to change that part of the business records, part of the Patriot Act before it expires in 2015, we will have hearings and we'll do that. And we're going to start in next Thursday when FBI Director Mueller is going to appear before the committee. I've got a good 5 minutes of questions asking about this, and maybe we can get further to the bottom of why this is necessary and why it relates to a specific investigation.
You get any answers on that yet?
No, I don't have any answers, but I sure would like it as the author of the act and who was assured by the Justice Department 2 years ago that this was very narrowly done and not very often used.
Yes.
Oh, my heavens, just look at what's come out. And it took a British newspaper to expose it.
So you're saying when the Patriot Act comes up for renewal in 2 years, 2015, you would find a way to amend that business clause there about relevant information?
We can do it earlier than that, and I think we may have to as a result of the fact that this Operation PRISM really hits everybody who uses a cell phone.
I tell you, I think the thing that bothers people, just to cut through all this, we're watching these IRS hearings over the past couple of weeks, and you expect the American people to trust their government with their information being tracked all day long? On telephones, on the internet? Help us get our head around that.
And it's everybody. It's everybody who uses a cell phone or a landline. That's how broad the FISA court's order was. Now, come on now. You can't use telecommunications unless we have to go back to the bad old days when I was a kid where we used 2 tin cans and a string between the two of them.
I heard yesterday that there are 10,000 Americans working on counterterrorism today. 10,000. And you're collecting all this data? How did Boston happen then?
Well, that's a good question, and we still don't know the answer. It's obvious that something fell through the cracks. And, as you know, when you got too much data, it's much more likely that something falls through the cracks than when you get targeted data. And good heavens, I authored the Patriot Act to try to get at the bad guys, and getting at the bad guys without getting the good people having their privacy jeopardized. And I fought with the Bush administration and the Obama administration, and I thought I was able to do something that was narrowly drafted. But any law can be abused, and this one has been.
You've apparently got more work to do. Thank you, and come back, okay?
Thanks,
Jim Sensenbrenner.
Sure will.
From Washington. Thank you, sir. Here's Martha.